Cape Media Center, building community through media.
My name is Jim Seymour. I'm the Executive Director for Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach. I've been in this role approaching 4 years. It'll be 4 years in November. Previous to that, I was on the board for 2.5 years, so I've been affiliated with the organization about 6.5 years. So for a little over 42 years, we've been helping veterans address issues related to homelessness, food insecurity, medical transportation rides, and case management, referrals, and counseling. Basically trying to encounter veterans where we meet them, identify their challenges and struggles at wherever they need assistance, and either make those referrals out to other agencies or help them directly. We started back in 1983 as the non-vets, and it was related to Vietnam vets coming home and not having a place to call home, so to speak, where they could gather safely. The era back then was a little challenging for them when they returned home. And then about 13 years ago, we morphed into what is now the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach, and we expanded our reach to serve veterans from all eras. And that has been extremely rewarding and has been very impactful in my brief time here as Executive Director. The mission of the veterans is basically encapsulated in the logo that's behind me, a hand up, not a handout. Currently, we have 2 properties that have the capabilities of housing 13 previously homeless veterans. It's a transitional situation. What that simply means is these veterans could be couch surfing, living in their car, living on the street, in a shelter. We get them safe, dry, warm, and secure. And then we work a program, a customizable case management program that helps address the challenges that may have led to where we encountered them and map a strategy forward so that they can become permanently housed in another apartment or home of their own and active and engaged in the community. The second program, probably our larger program, is our food insecurity program. In the last few years, we've stood up and expanded into 14 food pantries a month. Currently, we provide food pantry services in Hyannis, Yarmouth, Eastham, Wareham, as well as Martha's Vineyard. We do home delivery to homebound veterans. The other program that's important and vital, stood up about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer now, is our veterans transportation. We discovered and encountered veterans who no longer were able to drive and needed transportation to critical medical appointments. So we've been really successful partnering with third-party vendors like Uber Health, Prime Medical, and some of these other transport agencies, where we contract with them to provide the rides at no cost to the veteran. Successful attendance and participation in medical appointments, primarily, the diagnostic primary care and all of those kinds of things, make for a better outcome and a healthier, better life for our veterans. It simply gives them the access to the medical care that they might not have been able to get previously. And we do different sort of outreach programs throughout the community. And sometimes that's addressing financial planning and budgeting for veterans. We have a legal counseling program where we have an attorney who will help veterans who don't have estate planning. And, the other piece to it too is mental health is a big challenge. I think it's a big challenge throughout the community as a whole, but veterans seem to have a little bit more of a robust case of mental health challenges, whether it's PTSD or the invisible injuries of war, whatever it might be. So we make referrals for those kinds of cases out to providers in the community and many times directly to the VA. But I can see I'm smiling. One of the greatest things, people ask me, what's your greatest accomplishment? I've hired a really talented team of professionals who are passionate and come to work every day to try to improve the lives of veterans each and every encounter. And it's really amazing to watch. We're a nonprofit. Every dollar counts. And yet they come to work every day knowing, no one here is going to be a millionaire. And they do the work in a way that is an all-star performance every single time they encounter a veteran. And it's really a pleasure and an honor to watch them do that work. This is where we house our administrative offices, our programs, our case management. We meet clients here when we do interviews, and we have some in-house counseling, as I alluded to earlier. But this is where they can come and get the beginning of an inquiry for whatever help they need. So we'll do an intake and assessment, ask the questions, okay, what brings you here today? How can we be of help? What is your needs? And then based on those responses, we start to look at how we can tailor a response of assistance geared to those challenges they may be experiencing. So we're at 247 Stevens Street in the west end of Hyannis. We're directly behind the VA Medical Center here, just off of If you know where the Rotary is in West End by the Melody Tent, we're just about a block away. Our website is www.capeveterans.com. You can learn a lot more about our organization, and if you'd like to support our organization, there's also the ability to go on and financially support the work that we do. If you know a veteran that needs help, point them in our direction. We'd be more than happy. That's our mission. Again, it's a hand up, not a handout. And a lot of times veterans are very cautious to reach out because they think there are people that are worse off than them. What we found is when we talk veteran to veteran, you know, I don't need any help. I said, well, if I was in trouble, would you help me? Absolutely. So there you go. And it really, it impresses upon them. Again, we don't, if we're in the field about it, we don't leave anybody behind. It's the same thing in the same spirit. We've been serving veterans since 1983, and we're going to be here and continue to serve veterans as long as needed.
I'm Danny Davis, and I'm a Broadway producer and director. And in honor here at Cape Cod's Hyannis Arts Hall, I am serving as the director. Grief Dialogues is a national organization that works with communities and hospitals and universities to bring art into the conversation around grief. And I've had the privilege in the last couple of years to actually create immersive theatrical experiences that focus on the topic of grief. One of those experiences is In Honor, which we premiered last year in Los Angeles, and I have the pleasure and the privilege to bring it here to Cape Cod, a place I love so much. In Honor is about the veteran experience, the families of veteran experience, what happens as they return, after they return. And it's full of beautiful music and ritual and community participation and short plays, all dealing with the topic of combat, post-combat, post-service, and how families and veterans assimilate themselves back into life. It's very, very healing and gorgeous, and something I'm so proud to be a part of.
My name's Joseph Manning. I work on Cape Cod. I work out of Boston. In my capacity with this particular event, I'm an executive producer, largely because a lot of my work involves FaceTime with elected officials, whether they be local or state or even federal, to help those officials really be a part of the community in ways that they might not necessarily have been aware of. I think this is a new performance for the Cape, so it was helpful for me to let them know that it was going to, first of all, going to take place, second of all, what it meant, what it was going to mean, and what it could potentially mean to the community. On the Cape and the islands, we have more veterans than any other part of the Commonwealth, significantly. And it's this time of year that we honor the sacrifice that they made. We look at veterans from the perspective of none of us would be able to do what it is we love without the sacrifice and the commitment that they had to some of the ideals that we cherish the most.
I think the topic's important, particularly for Americans right now, for us to understand truly what that sacrifice really is, what honor really is. When a person commits to the military, that person and their entire family are committing, and they're protecting our freedom, and they're protecting the Constitution. And for me, just the illumination around that experience has been, like I say, a real privilege. And it's helped me to understand how beautiful a country it is we live in and how amazing the people are.
The concept of service is really prominent around Veterans Day. And I also think that it's important to me. I try to be of service. I try to help others as much as I possibly can. I'm not ex-military, but I do think that there's a natural connection between people in this community that are doing service work, and whether that be the Outreach Center and Jim Seymour, or it's some of the work that I do with nonprofits and others, or it's the tremendous amount of work that our elected officials do. And I think there's a natural connection between the service work that our veterans did and the service work that's now being done by our electeds.
The event will happen on November 10th, which is actually the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Marine Corps. This year is also the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy. But on November 10th, we will be here at Hyannis Arts Hall from 5 to 7 p.m. There'll be a reception afterward for In Honor. And the event will benefit Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center, Big Nick's Ride, and Josh's Boots, all organizations here on Cape Cod serving veterans. The event is free, but reservations are required because space is limited. And we are encouraging donations, like I said, to support those organizations I just mentioned. And if you go to thegriefdialogues.com/in honor, you can find all of the information, reserve a seat, and make a donation.
According to a food access study conducted by Brigham and Women's Hospital and the Greater Boston Food Bank, 34% of households in Barnstable County suffered from food insecurity in 2024. So Cape Media Center thought we'd stop by two busy pantries in our community, Family Pantry of Cape Cod in Harwich and Cape Cod Community Pantry in South Yarmouth, to learn more on how they're helping those in need.
We have over 100 volunteers, all unpaid, and they're all committed to making a difference in our community. I think one of the things that gets lost on us being a food pantry is that these folks come in here and volunteer knowing that we're helping our neighbors. All the people that come in and need help with food are neighbors. They all live in Barnstable County. And we all live on this beautiful place called Cape Cod, and these people happen to be here.
The mission statement is to feed and clothe all in need. Very simple, very basic, and we live by it. We have 450 volunteers and that are active. We have over 600 that are time off, have a summer job, and they return. And they're all specialists in it. First people that the client sees is the check-in window. We check their ID. Are they eligible to shop? Has it been 10 days? Is there any updates needed for their information? And we hand them the current shopping list. We give that order sheet to our shopper. We call it pick and pack, and off they go. And they pick that order. They zoom around that operation, pick up the dairy, pick up the protein, pick up the produce, and probably a 15-minute turnaround for a client's order.
We have to go down to Harwich at the Family Pantry once a week to pick up our up to 5,000 pounds of food. So we needed a new truck because our older truck was basically on its last legs. So we made the effort and we purchased this new truck with the proper van ramp information on it so that we can go to the bigger docks and pick up the food without having to do it. We couldn't do it without it.
Sue puts in the order for the food bank on the previous Wednesday and Thursday. So we know what's coming in off of that truck. So we know that there's going to be X amount of produce and or fruit and as to the fresh stuff. And then I would say the majority of it is going to be canned goods and frozen poultry and meat.
In the course of a week, we will put 800 shopping families through the building and 14,000 in a year. There's a lot of product that goes in the building and there's a lot that goes out.
We'd like people to think of us as, if you have a high mortgage payment or all of a sudden a car bill or a high medical bill, let us provide the food for you. You save that money to take care of your other issues in life, and we've got the food.
Since we've been in business for a short 15 years, we've helped over 13,000 unique people with food insecurity. I believe that the people who are in a position to not work and be retired are the ones that can come in here and volunteer. But we're aging out. We need some younger people to come in and help us with what we do.
My team does their thing all over town or wherever. There's a team that comes in here in the morning to stock, put the stuff away, and do all of that stuff. And then there's the teams that come in and actually do the distributions, which is the main point of what everyone does, is to do the distributions and to help the people.
For families that don't know how they're going to feed their kids at night, we don't want kids going home to bed hungry. We want them to have a healthy lunch the next day if they don't have the school lunch program. And it means a lot to think that, we're helping that way.
At the end of a very, very busy food distribution on a Tuesday or a Thursday night, and 40, 50, 60 families or households have come through, and everybody's leaving with a whole cart full of groceries. It's very heartwarming.
The Creative Arts Center has been around since 1969. There were a group of artists that would gather together as like a little art community, and one of them had been doing festivals, which we still host to this day. So we just had our 54th Festival of the Arts. And then what grew from that was they decided, wouldn't it be great for there to be an actual physical building where artists could take classes, do critique groups, have figure drawing, and showcase their work. And so we've been around since then doing all those things. The mission of the Creative Arts Center is to offer high-quality art experiences, education, and exhibits for all. We offer classes year-round, and we offer classes in painting, pottery, drawing, jewelry making, stone carving, iPhone photography, printmaking, enamel. So we really offer a whole breadth of classes. I think people are always surprised to hear in this little center how much we actually, how many different classes we offer. Those we offer year-round. Then in June and September, we have our workshops, which bring in world-renowned artists to Chatham, and they come for 3 days to 5 days. Usually the workshops are in length, and those are primarily painting classes. Sometimes they're plein air classes where people go out and paint on site. It's a very intensive workshop and a unique opportunity to work with these artists that are really top tier and at the very height of their career. People grow a lot within that week. Art brings so much to our lives. Science certainly proves that it helps with our well-being and our mental health. There's just great community around it here. Along with myself, the other two staff members are Caitlin Rice, our associate director, and Allie Kelly, who is our administrative assistant. And we get such a kick out of how much laughter we hear in the Creative Arts Center. art makes people happy. You know, it makes them happy to look at art. It just gives you something, and it also makes you happy to make art. So it's fun to be a part of that. We are at 154 Crowell Road in Chatham, right next to the Drama Guild. CapeCodCreativeArts.org, and everything is regularly updated on that. All of our classes, exhibitions, events, outreach, all of it is on there. Sometimes people, I feel like, shy away from an art class because they're insecure about their drawing ability. And there's so many ways to express yourself through visual arts that doesn't involve drawing at all. So there's really something for everybody here.
It was so much fun having Talia Aroni of Hot Yoga East Dennis in our studios to record a workout video that we began airing during our morning exercise block here at Cape Media Center.
Bring your big toes together to touch, relax your forehead center down, and start to breathe in and out through your nose. This is a really nice time to notice your breath. When I speak about yoga, I speak of it as a breath work practice more than anything else. You can't do this wrong. You also can't do this right. So allow yourself to be open. Maybe set up an intention for yourself for the next 45 minutes as we practice together. This is a powerful time to see what you're up to, what you're looking to create physically, energetically, mentally in your life with the rest of your day. So I'm happy that you're here with us.
As our fitness videos are some of our most watched videos on demand, we invite other instructors to become part of our video trend. Please reach out at marketing@capemedia.org. Or if you'd just like to work out with our instructors, watch every weekday morning at 9 a.m. on Channel 26, or find our videos on demand on our website, capemedia.org. Cape Media Center, building community through media.
This is so great that we get to do this. You can melt whatever tension you might be carrying around with you.
If we only go back a couple of generations, we'll find plenty of people for whom this building here at 307 Old Main Street in South Yarmouth was the place where they did all of their banking transactions. Since officially opening their doors as the cultural center of Cape Cod in 2007, it's been the place for all things arts and culture. But to ask Molly de Millionaire, the old bank nostalgia is part and parcel with the experience here.
There's not a day that goes by that someone doesn't come in and say, oh, I got my first mortgage here, or I had my first safety deposit box here. And so it's really been a part of our Cape Cod community for a really long time.
In the time that they've been open as the cultural center, over 250,000 visitors have made their way through the doors here to take in the sights and sounds.
There's visual art everywhere. There's ceramics, there's painting, there's screen printing, there's oil paintings and acrylic paintings. And so it's just like this really rich environment. And we always encourage people that when they're around to kind of explore and don't just come in for something that you might know you want to see. Be a little curious and open to learning something new.
While there are always seemingly endless sights to take in, we did mention sounds. That would probably fall under the heading of Cultural Center After Dark. Just another transition for the operation located here at the corner of Union and Old Main. When it first opened, people were thrilled to see the old bank building being repurposed and transformed into one of the premier cultural centers around. On the weekends, the folks who run this place take their transformation skills to the next level when they convert the main gallery into an intimate concert hall. Changing the room over by bringing in the seating and all that goes with it is just one time-consuming element. Creating the right sound is something else entirely. And with the high ceilings here, making that switch is no easy feat.
The acoustics in the space are really special. It's a live space. You hear vocals and acoustic music in here is just, it's to die for, really. And so, yeah, we have a great team. Jared and Mike are our sound engineers, and they're at every concert. So we want to make sure that the sound is exactly what it needs to be.
When we stopped by, we got to see Jared making sure that all the sound was correct to the last decibel. As it turns out, getting that perfect sound was essential to that evening's performer, Tom DeMena. He was doing the first night of his two-night series, Story Songs of the 70s. On the night that we saw him, he was covering the classics of Harry Chapin, Cat Stevens, and Gordon Lightfoot.
I think that this music of the 70s means to me great lyrics, obviously great stories and what have you, great artists, but it sounded good. The tone was good. The guitar sounded good. And that, for whatever reason, with how music has evolved and become an industry, it's just lost.
For DeMena, who spent the first half of his show that night as just one man, his voice, and his guitar, capturing that tone would be the key to capturing his audience.
It's still so hard, it doesn't always work out. And I don't have the nicest gear, but I care. And I like, that is different. And so when you have somebody that's like, all musicians care obviously, but willing to just prioritize the tone to that degree and do that, these songs that people really like, that's nice. And that's, I think, worth price of admission.
While there wasn't an empty seat in the house, and everyone who had a ticket and wanted to be there was there, Demillionaire's actual target audience is that one person who may be on the fence about showing up.
People who didn't know they wanted to come here, maybe they had a preconceived notion that it's for their grandmother and it's a quilting circle, right? And then they come in and they see this incredible band. Tonight we have the Story Songs of the 70s. And so people, they're sharing space and time with other humans. And I think we've kind of lost that a little bit in the human experience, right? So everybody's in their phone and not paying attention. And so drag your parents here, drag your friends here, drag your girlfriend, your boyfriend, doesn't matter. They're all going to have a great time.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.